Jay, I've got some questions for you. And because I know that you have this years and years and years of experience. And so what we want to do is really tap into that. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm sure that our audience will learn something from it. So here's your first question, okay? What's the
Ready.
highest amount you've ever sold a home for above list price?
I sold a home 550,000 above its list price. So that was fun.
That's all?
That's it.
What was the strategy you used to get that high above list price?
Sure. So the sellers wanted a certain price. The property is was in a situation where it was in the home in the family for a while. It was an older
Hmm.
home, but the home had a view. It had a $1 million view. And so that was
Hmm.
desirable. However, the condition of the home was not in its
Hmm.
best condition. It would definitely take someone who really wanted to be there. We were able to advise the sellers, there were four siblings selling this property, to list it at a more reasonable dollar amount that would
Hmm.
cast the widest net to the audience of buyers that may be interested in this neighborhood as well as
Right.
in this
The
home.
sweet spot.
The sweet spot, and actually a little
Yes.
bit below the sweet spot.
Uh-huh.
And sure enough, we got multiple bids on the home, but there was always two buyers that really want a home when there is a
Uh-huh.
multiple bid situation. And sure enough, the buyers at around 2, 3. The property was listed just under 2 million, and just bidding back and forth. And we knew that the buyer who really wanted it ultimately really wanted it. And we
Uh-huh.
said, what price would you lose and you're okay walking away from having this home? And they put in their highest bid, and it was a couple 100,000 above where their last bid was. And sure enough, the final two bidders, they were within 50,000 of each other, but it went that far above the list price of 1,995,000, and we sold it at 2,550,000.
Wow. Wow. So in this particular case, it was finding that sweet spot of a price
Mm-hmm.
and pricing it probably under 2 million, so that way you've got that search threshold, because a lot of
Yeah.
people cap it out at 2 million. And
Yep.
then you marketed the hell out of it. And
Yes.
then you found that outlier that was willing to pay the highest price, knowing that you had some others that were within range.
Yes, exactly. And we had
Right.
virtual staging done. There wasn't even a budget for real staging on the property. We had professional
Mhm.
photography, of course, but really it was a view, location, and getting the amount of buyers through the home to have
Right.
interest in it in order to finding that right buyer to drive the price.
Perfect. Perfect. I love that strategy. I think if you don't price right, that's the worst thing you can do.
The
And I've seen your
worst.
work, Jay. It's all about prepping the house beautifully, marketing it beautifully, pricing it in the sweet spot, and then you know you're going to get to that best number. So
Right,
awesome.
because all the other work is ineffective if you don't have the right price for it, and that's the thing. You can stage it, you can professional photography, drone videography. However, if it's priced wrong from the get-go, it's sitting on
Dead in the
the
water.
market. Yep,
I
yep,
totally agree. I can't stand it when unfortunately we know that works because we do it over and over and over and again. And
hmm
when our clients, it's not very often, most of the time our clients trust us, but when they don't trust us, oh, it's like, we know that we're going to be in trouble. So
yep.
great. I love that. Pricing strategy, key. Okay, what is the worst thing that a seller can choose to do when listing a home?
Boy, there's so many.
Well, choose one. Tell us the story of one in particular where
Okay.
you were like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing you could have done. And how did you overcome that?
The worst thing a seller can do is not decluttering and getting their stuff out. It's
Hmm.
amazing what a fresh coat of paint and getting all of their stuff out. And if the furniture isn't great, they've got to stage it. They've got to stage it because especially um, if their taste in furniture or their decor
Right.
smells. It's just very offensive. It's offensive to have odors that are not pleasing. It's offensive to have, tacky furniture and for a property to not look in its best condition. And in today's day and age of the buyers are HGTV buyers. If the average,
Exactly.
age of a buyer is, late 20s to let's say 60s, that bracket of buyer, they do not want to do the work. 70% of buyers do not want to do the work. And to have the
Right.
greater appeal, a seller has to do these things, whether, it's a matter of, okay, if you're not willing to do these things, then just know that you're not going to sell it for as much as you'd like, and you're just not going to have as wide of an amount of appeal to buyers. It's just every single time. Unfortunately,
Right.
it's the way it is.
Let's focus on decluttering for a second, and then let's talk about another story with staging after this. So decluttering to me this is the way I've done it. I walk in there and with my project manager or the stager, and they say, how much should we get rid of? And I said, well, think about how much you want to get rid of, and then double that. Because I want that much out of there, because you want them to be able to see it open and breathing and give the opportunity for the people to see what it's going to be like with them in it. And if it's too dated, like you say, that's going to limit your market. If someone sees that in the photos, what happens? Then they don't come. Then you've lost a good percentage of your market by not doing the basics well. So the decluttering, I think, is just, I really agree with that, especially if they're not going to stage.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so difficult, right? Because buyers have so many options in today's market right now more than ever. Time is precious, as well as the appeal that a buyer has. And it's also that short attention span these days. If you don't look a certain
Yep.
way, you're not going to get the people coming to see the property in person.
Well, let's do this. Let's go off script for a second here. So decluttering, obviously very important. So let's talk about styling. Let's say you go into a house and they don't have the money, or they don't want to stage. So what kind of things do you recommend? So you're walking into a house, you're talking to the people, and they don't want to do that. And I mean, I know what we like to do is we like to say, okay, we're going to use your stuff, but we're going to style it. So can you give me an idea of what you've done with a client where you said, okay, you're not going to do shit. So why don't we at least do this? What would you do?
Well, if they're not able to financially or unwilling to stage, I mean, definitely recommend having one of our decor professionals come in and zhuzh it up, like add some
I love
things.
that
But
word.
I would believe in zhuzhing.
Yeah.
It's a real estate term. It's such a technical term,
Hmm.
but it's so important to move things about. I mean, we've gone in and spent hours on a home and just, rearranging books and bookshelves and moving furniture and getting things
Hmm.
prepped. What maybe most people don't realize, it really is like that Annette Bening a scene. I will sell this house as she's cleaning the windows and we're sweeping floors and we're
All of
we're
it.
you know all of it, and it
Yeah.
really is a lot of manual labor that maybe folks don't realize. We get into the trenches here and
Hmm.
do the actual physical work to whatever it takes to make sure that the home shows in its best light to
Right.
get it sold. And not every agent does that, as
Most
we've
don't.
seen horrible listing photos. We've seen walking
Mhm.
into homes and it just is horrible. If it's within our control and power, we definitely do the things that we can to maximize its appeal to as many people as possible.
I love it when I go to a listing. Thinking of one of my team, Jessie, and I go in there and she has her baby on her hip. She's got the leaf blower in her hands. She's sweating like crazy, and she's just getting the leaves out of the gutter because when they walk up to the house, she wants it to be nice and clean. And I'm going, oh, so beautiful. Or another time I come in there and she's all dressed up real nice and everything, and she's sitting there with high heels on, taking the leaves out of the pool. And I'm going like, that's my team. That's my team. Because those little things, they don't seem like much, but those little things make a huge difference. Huge
Absolutely.
difference. And that's one
Absolutely.
of the things I love about you is that you don't phone it in. Is you're going to get it done. And if they don't have the money, God bless them. Some people might not have it. But, our team is going to go that extra mile to make sure that we do the best with what we have.
Because at the end of the day, our fiduciary duty is to do everything within our power, physical, mental, and experiential, to give them the best opportunity to reach their goals. And that's selling their home
Yeah.
for the best dollar. And it
Perfect.
doesn't matter what it is, we're going to do it. Make sure toilet seat covers are closed, toilet paper is just so, like,
Right.
you need it. It has to, all those little minute details add up to the
Hmm.
experience when someone walks into a
Ooh, I
property.
love the way you put that. All those little details add up to the minute details add up to the full experience. I love that. That's great. Okay, so you got me onto another thing as you were speaking. God, I could talk to you for hours. Fiduciary duty. I love that. So, can you think of, and I know I'm throwing this out of nowhere, but think of a time that you might have gone into a listing and or a listing appointment, and maybe it wasn't the best idea for them to sell the property. I mean, I can think of a couple, but I'm interviewing you. So,
Mhm.
can you think of a time you went in and you went like, "Gosh, guys, I want to make that 2.5, 3%, but maybe you shouldn't sell."
I don't think I've come into a scenario where most of the cases I've been on a listing,
Hmm.
they've had to sell. Those are the
Hmm.
ones where I've been in those scenarios. There's some where we've listed it and it did not sell. We've had, because of
Hmm.
market conditions, we've had to put it
Right.
up for lease and wait for a right time to sell it. But
But
no,
that's okay. So that's the same type of thing, though. So you're working, you're going in to sell a house. The number they need to get is just unrealistic. Okay,
Mhm.
and so instead of you trying to push them to go to a level that they don't want to go and talk them into it because you want the condition, want the commission. To me, this is the way I've seen you work in the past too. Your fiduciary duty is to advise them fully. So talk about a situation or give us an example of when you went, when, okay, they're not going to be able to get what they want, so you're going to advise them to lease. So what does that look like?
Sure. I mean, market conditions change. And the toughest part, and when market shifts like it has on us this 2023, is when rates go up or property in certain sections of
Mhm.
town, especially condos. Condos and townhomes get hit
The
first.
fickle. Yep.
Yeah, they're the last to rise in value and they're the first to go down in value and
Hmm.
in appeal, right? And so the
Hmm.
high-end luxury condo townhome get hit the hardest first, and I've experienced this a couple of times. And unfortunately, it's a high asset. The $2 million condo, that's not easy. And
Right.
it takes a certain particular buyer to buy something like that. And when the market
Hmm.
kind of bottoms out a little bit, those are the ones you have to pace a bit and turn those into a lease. Ultimately, though, like you said, our fiduciary duty is to keep our clients protected no matter what. And it's not being attached to the outcome. It really is about, are we with them lockstep to ensure that what their asset that they want the outcome for is protected? And can we keep it protected if we're going to have to convert it to a lease, whether it's short term or long term? Make sure that we provide a proper tenant that's going to care for the home and keep them protected, and then time it better when they are able to come on the market because they
I
weren't
love that.
ready or they got ready at the wrong time and we're like, oh, you're 2 months too
Right.
late. We missed that timing of the market. And because, you know, pricing as well as the property as well as the buyer pool, it shifts. And we don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately, of when that right buyer for that luxury property comes together. Because it's different, for property to property, area to area, and price point. All of
Well,
that has to
that,
converge.
I like that instead of trying to push it and try to force the issue with someone and make them do something, not make them, but try to, I don't know, you're just focused only on yourself with it instead of looking at it and going, you know what, maybe the better strategy is to lease or to do this. I think to me is great because then they know they've got not just an agent, they've got a fiduciary. See, I said it right that time. And they've got someone who truly is watching out for them, someone, and then of course, they're going to love you forever. So I think that's
Well,
great.
Scott, like us, we're marathoners, not sprinters, right? True
Hmm.
real estate professionals that are our lives and our careers are real estate. We're not
Hmm.
in this for the sprint. We're not in this for the short race. We're in this for
Hmm.
the long haul. It's a career. So
Right.
it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Absolutely. All right. So another question I was going to ask you about is what, is the common mistakes sellers make. But what I'd like to do is think of a seller. Don't give me any name. Don't give the person away, of course. It's Tom Johnson. But think of the name of something where they made a big mistake, and you're going like, "Come on, this. What is one of the big mistakes you're having to deal with, and how do you help overcome that?"
Not getting their dog poop, pee,
I love
or
this title. It's going to be
yes,
dog poop. That's going to be the caption.
dog poop.
Love it.
Pet smells, not getting their that is just such a big turnoff. And when they're living in it, and the seller has said, I'm living in it. I did not realize
They
it
don't.
smelled like this, you know? She's like, you always lit a candle, you always clean things up. And I said, yes,
Hmm.
because, and she's like, I didn't realize it always smelled good because you lit candles and you prepped the home for showings. I said, yes,
Right.
because, you know,
There's
yep,
products you can use, which is great. And then if you have a deep cleaner who comes in and let's say you have a fabric couch or you have
years and
carpet,
oh
if you got that the money invested in doing that kind of thing is huge. And we have
yes.
a new listing coming up right now where the guy has an older dog, sweet as can be, and we say, is there anywhere he can go where he'll be happy so that we can get this sold? And
Hmm.
because otherwise we're going to deal with that. We will if we need to, but
Hmm.
by the way, I didn't expect the dog poop one. So I think that's a
If
good
that,
one.
I've been
Uh,
in 20, $30 million listings where the listing agent did not have the lawn cleaned. And I remember walking through these properties and said, how could they not prep for an
mhm.
open house on a $24 million house, not have the dog poop out of the
Or
yard?
hire someone.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
but yeah, not on them, but the fact that the property was not prepped properly for
Right.
people to come through and have literally crap on the lawn. I mean, that's pretty
Hmm.
bad, I would say. So,
We go so far as to, and our cleaners clean inside and out. They do hardscape and the power washing and all that. We go through, and the first time my cleaner ever came through, it was really funny because yeah, he went through and it was for probate and the house was pretty trash. And then I went to the cleaner. I said, "Hey, great job, man. That's really great. So here's the list of the things that remain." And he looked at me like I was crazy. And it was like, well, you have to do the thresholds, and I want to get that. And then when you open the window, you need to do this. I went through it, and then the gutter was dirty. I said, everywhere, front to back, side to side, top to bottom, it needs to be done. It's got the vents and everything. Now he goes in, charges a little bit more because he spends twice as much time there, gets it all. And when the sellers see this, the house, when you walk in and they don't even realize that, like between, let's say between the pavers, there was all the hair. And they're not looking at that because they're walking over it. They're not thinking twice about it, right? But all of a sudden, you get all of that up and you get it all clean. It smells good. It looks good. New experience. And what do? We make more money for our clients.
hmm
Yes.
well,
So thank
that's
you. Thanks for bringing up dog poop. Appreciate it. Let's talk about real estate and what you love. Think about a client that actually, so we can take this two different ways, but think about a client that you just go, oh my gosh, I love this client. What was it that that client did that a lot of clients might not do that just
mhm.
makes you love real estate?
I'm very fortunate that I have clients I've had for 20 plus years. Since my original years in real estate, we celebrated our 20-year of when I first helped him back when he was a single
Hmm.
person. Now he's married and with two teenage daughters, and I helped
Oh,
him
wow.
first in 1999, his first condo, and then helped him sell it, and then help him buy a home with an ADU. And when I think about my ideal client, are those that just know me, like me, trust me, and I've helped them
Nice.
multiple times and not just a one and done. And the
Hmm.
beauty of having, they're literally a thread of my life. They're a part of my life, and they will send me texts and messages of, we're just thinking of you this holiday because this home is possible because of you. And
Oh, that's
I literally am crying with tears of joy when I think about the lives that I have helped impact by giving them a home, by out negotiating the other people to help them navigate getting that home, because literally it would not have been possible if we hadn't gone through the buyer letter and advocating for them and knowing the listing agent and just
right.
fighting for them, fighting for their right to own this home, and knowing them so well that I was able to advocate for why they were the perfect owner of this home for them in this community. And so
My
that's
gosh, I love the way you talk about your clients. I love
well,
it.
this is what it fuels me, is to
Hmm.
to to advocate for people to such depths that I know them so well, they know that I
Hmm.
will put my battle armor on for them and get them what they want. And whether it's my own sister down the street or families like this that I've known for decades now, and helping them and all the people they
Right.
refer to me, It's people I know that I'm battling for, and the reasons, the why. I know the why behind the why, you
Oh, I
know?
love that. So you know what's interesting though, because you talked about a couple different things. One, how you just want to advocate for your client. You want to do what's right by your client. You have a vision for serving your client. It's not self-serving. The beauty of it is that by doing that for your client, it's great for you because you're doing that, and then they love you, and then they think about you, then they refer you because you just did the right thing. You did the right thing, and you loved them through the process. I think that's one of the things that I've always appreciated so much about you is not only the fact that you have this great knowledge base, is that you care so strongly for your people and you're so involved in your community. This is turning into a testimonial for you. So let's do this while we're doing it. So while we're here, because I've known you for a while, and I've always heard so many great things about you. But then getting to know you over the past couple of years even more, I just see the way that you work and how you go out of your way for people, how you put other people first. And I see, like I said earlier, your knowledge base, your creativity, how you put in, you don't phone it in. You just do. To me, I've always seen it this way, and this is how I see you, is that we're getting paid really well for what we do. And the truth is, I think we deserve every penny because you had 20 years of experience in someone like you. Let's face it, that's amazing. That's if you get someone with 20 years who's built a company, who's strong in the community, who's a fiduciary, has a great team, you're worth your weight in gold. And so when I look at you, I'm going, you're like the epitome of a great agent and a great team. And if I was on looking for a house or referring business over there, I'd want it to go to you.
Well, thank you, Scott. I mean, it's the same. You're a deep love of your family. You're a family man. Your family is priority. Your business and your professionalism, top rate, top notch. Everything that you do because of your production background and because of how you care for people, you are the Mr. Googly Googly because you do put others first. You are that
Oh,
caretaker and you put everything in the highest caliber. And that's what I admire about you is that
thank
you
you.
do that for not only for your friends, your family, but your clients, your colleagues. Everybody goes on that top shelf and it's a priority for you. And that's very admirable. As you know, you're fortunately there's also a great team behind you as well. But
Yeah.
you conscientiously look for and care for people so that they feel fully served in how you help them. And that is very commendable.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Like you, Jay, I mean, the truth is, and it just sounds like a line, it sounds like something that marketing came up with, but I mean, I really do care about my clients and serving them. I really do. And I would rather lose a deal than do wrong by the client. And so, and that's how I see you too. So, but thank you for your kind words. I definitely appreciate that. And by the
Oh,
way, I think that my strongest, I'll speak about me for a second. My superpower is surrounding myself with great people.
mm,
So I'm in a mastermind group with you and other like-minded people because I want to grow. I know that I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow. I'm going to become a better agent and a better person through being in this group. I also, everyone from the landscaper who's a bit of an artist, because the things he does, he goes way out of his way for us. We have, our virtual assistants, our marketing, the team, everyone cares. It's about bringing in the right people to surround you with. So I'm at the front and they're just making me look amazing. And then as a team, because you run a team too, when they're in the front, I want to make them look amazing. I'm not looking for the limelight. I want to make Jesse and Eric and Jonathan and Julia, I want to make everyone shine. And I probably missed someone, and they're going to go like, I'm like the only one you didn't mention. So, okay, let me see. One more. Actually, you know what? We've addressed so many great questions. I think we've got like 6 or 7 really nice question and answers, including the testimonial. Which thank you again. Really
well,
appreciate
Scott,
that.
what people don't
Yeah.
realize, it's funny, there's so many shows that convey just the glamour life of real estate. But I think what we touched upon today is that real estate is a labor of love, of blood, sweat, and
Hmm.
tears. And I know, like me, you put a 200% of everything you've got to protect the
Thank you.
client, make everything amazing. And I don't think that people, and I've had some interns come through and because they were watching some real estate show and they said, "Oh, this seems like so much fun." And
Hmm.
yes, it is rewarding and fun, or wouldn't have done it for 28 years. However, the you need to be able to want to go to work. It's work
Hmm.
every single day, the manual labor, the mental labor, the
Yeah.
creativity, the grind of making sure every detail is covered. That's the part that people don't really talk about. And they're like, "Oh,
Hmm.
real estate, you guys get paid so much money." I said, "Do you know how much it takes to
Hmm.
truly succeed and make these things happen? Because if it was easy,
Right.
everybody could do it, but they can't,
Nope, they can't. I
you
love the
know?"
way you put that. So eloquent. Yeah. And so, is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Is there any other story? Can you think of any other, like, let's say a story where it's like, holy crap, this is going to be awful, but somehow you were able to pull it out. Is there something you can think of? We're not going to mention names, or we don't want to upset anybody, but can you think of a story where you're going like, this could have been the worst thing in the world, but my team and I came in and did X.
Yeah, well, what I love is having the opportunity to interview. Well, I think the greatest mistake that a lot of clients don't do is interview the top people in a community. They're in the top and they're there for a reason. I just want to be a part of the conversation. I hate it when I see a for sale sign go up and I didn't even get an opportunity to
Hmm.
you for it. Interview. And I love being given a chance because I'm not going to be the fit for every person. And I'm okay with that so long as you get the opportunity to present. You know what I mean? But my
Absolutely.
favorite is when I am and I have an opportunity to present, and whether it's six or seven or eight or 12 or whatever, and I win. I love
Yeah.
that.
I
That's
like
when
that
I
side of you too. You're not just all, oh, you're a fighter at the same time.
Yes, but because I was the right fit for them, communication style, my thoroughness, my expertise, my ability, and they felt that I was there to protect them and they truly understood that. That's when I
Hmm.
know that they're my people. My people, we connect.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love is having that. But, some properties are difficult. I'm not going to take that away. If it was easy, everybody could do it. Some of these houses are difficult. And we had a trustee sale where she was very tough in the beginning. But what I
Hmm.
love is by the end, she was a raving fan and wrote a wonderful review about how she did it
Nice.
with multiple agents and the
Hmm.
fact that she was in a difficult situation. And the house was difficult because it's built on cinder blocks. And I don't know if you know about cinder material. It's not
Right.
a true, two by fours and it's cinder blocks. So, it's hard to insure. It's hard to reconstruct or add on a property like that. It's literally just a tear down. And so going through that whole process with her, helping her understand why the value of a home like that, and she didn't want the home to be knocked down. She wanted it
Hmm.
to go to a
So,
family.
so what did you do? That's what she wanted. You're a fiduciary. You're trying to get that for her. You advise her, tell her the pros and cons of, hey, maybe the best price is knocking it down, scraping it, but she doesn't want that. So, what did
Mhm.
you do to get her to the next step in order to get her wishes done or wishes
Mhm.
fulfilled with not having to tear it down?
Just knowing that a buyer going through the inspection process, that's not going to tear it down. That's not going to be a builder that's going to tear
Hmm.
her family home down and stay there. She had to understand that it was going to be a significant in terms of price as well as the request for repair process is going to be
Hmm.
difficult. And it
So
was
you
difficult.
educated her.
Yeah, we had to
You
navigate through that.
educated her, gave her both sides.
And she's never had to sell a home, right? And it was her mom's home. And she's owned her home in the East Coast for decades. This is her mom's home. So these first time trustees, first time probate, first time
Hmm.
sellers, it's not an easy process for them to understand. What we see every day is to
Hmm.
explain to them what that process is going to feel like, what it's going to be like. And in the uncharted waters we're headed into in terms of this market that's shifted since May of this year, it's
Hmm.
it's a lot of explaining of what
Well,
comes down.
this is where you're going to be more valuable than ever. I think the good agents will rise to the top, and because of what you bring to the table, the full package that you bring to the table. And I think so you're more valuable than ever. A newer agent, I mean, nothing against them because we were newer at one point, but they don't understand and haven't been through what we do. So therefore, our experience really helps elevate us. Plus, we know who to talk to. So if they come in and if they want to bring in this inspector and you know it's XYZ who's an absolute maniac and alarmist, very likely you're going to know who that is, or you're going to find out who it is by asking around, and you can deny that person. There's so many things that because of your knowledge that you're going to be able to do that other agents that aren't as seasoned as you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to be a little seasoned, a little aged.
Yeah. Oh. So Jay, thank you so much. Seriously, really, really
This is
appreciate it.